Assalamu alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، والصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني القرشي الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. أما بعد، فقد قال أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام: أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله واتباع أمره ونهيه. First of all, as usual, I recommend myself and all of you to practice piety. And inshallah, Allah will accept our efforts and sacrifices we made in the month of Muharram. As you all are aware that the month of Muharram is the best opportunity for each one of us to try our best to achieve the maximum reward which is allocated for this month. The month of Muharram is the month of revolution, the month of migration, the month of spirituality, the month of strengthening our connections with Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, especially the martyrs of Karbala. Definitely each one of us will achieve the reward and the sawab based on our efforts, based on our intentions, based on our sincerity. Not all of us are equal in that, as if we offer the prayer in the congregation, each one of us, based on our intention, based on our sincerity, we attract the blessings and reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The same way, in the month of Muharram, not all followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam attract the similar and same blessings. It depends upon our sincerity, it depends upon our efforts, it depends upon our sacrifices, it depends upon our intentions. It's we who can understand how much we are getting closer to our Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam in this month. As we are beneficial in the month of Ramadan, getting closer to Quran, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the month of Muharram, again it is an opportunity for us to get closer to Quranun Natiq, the speaking Quran, which are the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Our noble Prophet, peace be upon him, based on the narration which is well documented both in Shia sources and the Sunni sources, that inni tarikun fikum al-thaqalain kitab Allah wa itrati ahla bayti. I'm leaving behind two weighty things. One, the Quran, and my itra, my progeny, the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. فَإِنَّهُمَا لَنْ يَفْتَرِقَا حَتَّى يَرِدَ عَلَيَّ الْحَوْض. There is no separation between these two until we reach in Hawd of Kawthar, the pool of Kawthar. No separation means they are not two. That's why we call both of them Quran. One is the Quran Samit, the Quran which is written, and the other is the Quran Natiq, the speaking Quran. Whatever Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam demonstrated, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Quran. You will find the verses accordingly. And whatever we see the verses of the Holy Quran, you see the live demonstration of those verses, application of those verses in the lifestyle of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. In fact, they are one, and it is hard for us to understand the one among these two. To make us understand, our noble Prophet used the word "I'm leaving behind two weighty things." In fact, it's not two, it's one. So if we are really followers of Quran, definitely we are the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. If we are the followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, definitely we are the followers of Quran. It is impossible for a person to claim that I'm the follower of Quran and not paying attention to Ahlul Bayt. It's the biggest joke and it's the biggest hypocrisy. While Quran mentioning in many verses about Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, how we can claim that we are the followers of Quran while we are not paying attention to some of the verses talking about Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. We are not paying attention to the seerah of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Those who are sincere enough with Quran, they no need to find any other evidence apart from Quran to understand the importance and the virtues and the greatness of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Unfortunately, the majority of the Muslim societies across the globe, it's the biggest deception going on, and from the pulpits of Rasulullah in the masjids, despite of being us in the month of Muharram, most of the scholars are not talking about the importance of the Muharram and the martyrdom of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. One of the very important verse talking about directly talking about the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, the importance of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam and the responsibility of the Muslims if they want to remain as a Muslim, that قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. When some of the companions of Rasulullah went to Rasulullah in last days of his life, that, "O Rasulullah, you convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you sacrifice a lot, and your efforts are really beneficial to all mankind, and we Muslims benefited a lot, so we want to give something in return. We want to pay some gifts, we want to give some gifts in return of your efforts." Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down this verse, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. O Rasul, O Prophet, do not ask them. Tell them, لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. I don't want any wages or any gifts from you, any ajr. إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى, except that you love and follow my progeny. Which verse we need more than this? Directly talking about the responsibility of the followers of Quran, the responsibility of the followers of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you need to follow and you need to love the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, the progeny of our Lord Prophet. That's where we can understand and analyze the history of Islam based on these verses. Truly the Quran is criterion. One of the titles of Quran is Al-Furqan, a distinguish between the truth and falsehood. If you want to know where is the truth and where is the falsehood, we have to refer to Quran. The Quranic verses are making us clear where is the truth and where is the falsehood. So Quran says that you need to follow and you need to love the progeny of our noble Prophet, peace be upon him. And if we are not talking about the Ahlul Bayt, even if we are not understanding the history based on the Quranic verses. If you are not understanding where is the truth and where is the falsehood, while we have the criterion among us, then even if you claim that Quran is enough for us, that's the biggest hypocrisy. Yes, Quran can be enough for you if you follow the Quran. Quran says that you have to follow the Ahlul Bayt. You have to love Ahlul Bayt, the progeny of Prophet. So if you are claiming that you are the followers of Quran, it is incumbent upon you to follow the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam and love the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Unfortunately, in some of the incidents we had in the history of Islam, the intellectuals and the scholars of Islam who are very famous among the Muslim world, while we ask the simple questions about the actions of some of the Sahabas who are very famous in Islamic history, they don't have proper answer. And we find a huge amount of contradiction in their answers. In one hand, they say that whoever stands against the Khalif of the time, he is the revolt. He is revolting against the Khalif. He is the Khariji. He is the outside of Islam. Fine. If you talk about who stood against the Khalif of the time, in the time of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, we cannot speak about them. Because they were Sahaba, they were very great personalities. We don't know, they felt that it was essential for them to stand and revolt against the Khalif. And yes, Khalif was in right, Imam Ali was with the truth, there is no discussion about it, there is no doubt about it, but we can't speak against the Sahaba. So how come? Is it criterion changes time to time, or there is a single criteria? Very logic. It's not a nanotechnology. It's not something you need to go to be a professor to understand that. If Quran is setting up the criterion that whoever stands against the truth, whoever stands against the Imam of the time, they are the Baghi. They are the Bughat, meaning they are outside of the Islam. Then we see in the Islamic history that people who stood against the Imam of their time, and yet they say they reserve that we cannot speak about them. So it is very important to know that no book apart from Quran is 100% right. It is very important to understand that Al-Qur'anu qat'iyyu sudur wa dhanniyyu dalala. This is the principles we have in the principles of jurisprudence. Quran is qat'iyyu sudur wa dhanniyyu dalala. There is no doubt about being Quran as a word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No distortion occurred about the Quran. No alteration. Well preserved and well documented. And Quran itself shouts that Inna nahnu nazzalna zikr wa inna lahu lahafizun. We send down this Quran and we are the protector of this Quran. So Allah himself took the responsibility of the protection and preservation of the Quran. So we believe that only book on earth now we have in our possession, which is not altered, which is not distorted, is the Quran. So other than Quran, there is no way we can say that 100% is right. Except those who are rasikhuna fil ilm, but about them Quran says that whatever they say is the hujjah and the proof and evidence, and according to Quran, the qawl ma'soom, the qawl and the word of infallibles, because it is compatible with Quran, we say that that is 100% right. And again, there is another principle in principles of jurisprudence, that al-ahadith zanniyu sudur wa qat'iyyu dalala, opposite of the Quran. We don't have any certainty about the issuance of the hadith. We cannot say that all the hadiths we hear is 100% from the infallibles, from Prophet or from Imams. But if Hadith explains something, it's clear, it's open up the minds. So, قَطْعِيُّ الدَّلَالَةِ وَالظَّنِّيُّ الصُّدُورِ. So once, Ayatollah Jawad Ahmadi mentioned beautiful criterion that once the Hadith is proven that it is from Prophet and it is from Imam, alayhi salatu wasalam, any Imam, then it is impossible to have that Hadith contradictory with the Quranic contents. This is for sure. Once we have the authenticity of the Hadith, that this Hadith is from Prophet or from Imam, any Imam, then it is impossible to find any contradictory with the Quran. That is the criterion. So if we find the contents of any Hadith which contradictory with the Quranic contents, we are sure that this is not, because they are one. Quran is Ahlul Bayt and Ahlul Bayt are the Quran. The walking Quran, the talking Quran are the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. There is no possibility of having contradiction. And you see the history of Islam. If you thoroughly check the history of Islam, if you check the seerah and the lifestyle of Ma'asumin alayhimus salam, their conduct, their behavior, their words, and their ahadith, and their lifestyle is totally compatible with Quran. You cannot find in their seerah any negativity in seerah, any incompatible with Quran. That's why Imam Hussein alayhi salatu started his mission from Medina after Hijrah. Those who have the knowledge of Quran, those who understood Quran properly, they joined with this mission. Despite of the consequences which was known for everyone. You know, this was very famous in the time of Rasulullah. From the inception of the birth of our Imam Hussein al-Salam, he announced that this child is going to face the calamity. The my ummah, he himself mentioned that my ummah, there are people among my ummah, they will kill brutally my son Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam in the land of Karbala. So it was known to everyone. Time to time, Rasulullah used the opportunity to introduce and mention this prediction that the time will come in which people from my ummah, they will stand against him, my child, my Hussein, and they will kill him brutally. And it was known for everyone. That's why, while Imam Hussein was leaving Medina, people from the Bani Hashim, the Hashimites, they came forward with the suggestion that, oh Hussein, we knew that while you're going towards the Kufa, we know the consequences, we know the confrontation, we know what may happen to you. So they were suggesting that why you are going there. Change your mind, go somewhere else. Because it was evident, it was known for everyone that this will happen in Karbala. So they were trying to suggest Imam Hussein والسلام, not to go there. So in return, Imam Hussein mentioned the same sentence, which is very famous, that in Allah sha'a yarani qatila. This is evident, this is real, no one can change it. If I want to preserve Islam, if I want to defend Quran, I have to go through this line. Sometimes, this is not, there is a discussion among the scholars that how come Imam Hussein, knowingly that there is a death in his journey, why he went, why he attempted? Is it not committing suicide? If you know somewhere is a danger, you have to protect yourself. You have to safeguard yourself. Why he took this step and went to Karbala? Why he know that there is a death here, there is a martyrdom there. So it is for normal death we can call it. Yes, if something is naturally happening and disaster, if you know and can predict, you have to preserve yourself. But not in terms of preservation of the Islam. Not while the circumstances that if you go and sacrifice yourself, you can protect the Quran, you can protect Islam. If not, then the whole mission of Anbiya and the prophets will go in vain. That is the normal jihad. If any soldier going to the battlefield in a battle, in a war, they know that there is a risk of death, there is a risk of life. Knowingly they are going to battlefield. It's not a suicide. No one called them that they are attempting for suicide. They know that there is a death, there is a risk of life, but yet they go to preserve, to protect the country. The same way here. Imam Hussein knew, he was well aware the consequences of Karbala, but he went there to protect Islam. He know that. He was well aware that there is no other way. That's why in his speeches, in his sermons, in his letters, in his conversation, he did mention, especially in the land of Karbala, in the day of Ashura, in the slogans he mentioned, it is very evident. He said that in كان الدين محمد لم يستقم إلا بقتل فيا سيوف خزيلي. This is something that very easy to understand. The mindset of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, that if the deen of Muhammad, the religion of Muhammad cannot be protected except my blood, all the swords come and take me. So he was ready for that. And it is mentioned that the step by step he was moving towards Karbala. Even the opponents reported that the face of Imam Hussein was getting brighter. It's very hard to express these things. It is mentioned that in the day of Ashura, from the beginning of the day of Ashura, from the azan, of the morning azan, they started attacking the camp of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. In the first instance, some of the ashab, they achieved the martyrdom. And until the noon time, in the azan time, almost around 40 members of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, they lost their life and achieved the martyrdom. Only few remain in the camp of Abu Abdullah. And Imam Hussein ﷺ sent the message that this is a time for prayer. Are you going to stop the war? He's not talking to kuffar. In this era, in this time, if someone, a Muslim, stands in a place and he seeks the permission to offer a prayer, there are many non-Muslims, they facilitate the place for the prayer. Now Imam Hussein is talking to the Muslims. They claim to be followers. Some of them were ashab. Some of them were memorizers of the Quran. And while Imam Hussein mentioned that this is the time for prayer, one of the opponents, one of the Ashqal Ashqiya, he replied in these words, the tragedy of Imam Hussein is not just slaughtering of Imam Hussein, not just giving away the life, the physical life. Sometimes the words, the arrow of the words are more dangerous than the real arrow. What he replied, he said, "O Hussein, your prayer is not accepted." It's very hard to express these sentences. How dare you, calling yourself as a Muslim and the follower of Quran and the follower of Prophet, and it is mentioned by Prophet, and it was well known to everyone, including people who were there in Karbala, in the army of Yazid. It was well known for everyone that Prophet mentioned Al-Hasan wal-Hussein Sayyada Shababi Ahl Jannah. And how the dunya, the hubbud dunya, the love for dunya, drag the persons up to a level that they are standing and they are mentioning that, "Oh Hussein, your prayer is not going to be accepted by Allah." Then Habib ibn Mazahir stood up and said, "Ya Hussein, oh my master, I cannot bear this." And one of the friends of Habib ibn Mazahir was a jurist and well-known figure in Kufa. And he was very famous for his greatness. He was old, 70 plus. And he said, "I cannot bear this, Ya Abu Abdullah. Allow me to go and kill this person." One of his friends said to Habib ibn Mazahir that, "Oh Habib, You are a jurist. Now the time for prayer. Let us offer the prayer behind our Imam, the last prayer. Why you are hurry to go and achieve the martyrdom? He said, no, I will pray behind Rasulullah. I cannot bear this. I cannot just listen someone attacking on Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam saying that your prayer is not going to accepted by Allah. I cannot bear this. And he took the permission and went on battlefield and he achieved the martyrdom. There are two other ashab who were commanded by Imam alayhi salatu wasalam to protect the prayers, and he offered the 2 rakat prayer that is called the Salatul Khawf. And then this is very important to know that how come these people who claim to be Muslim, who claim to be the followers of Prophet, who claims to be the followers of Quran, it is very important to shed light on these actions, my dear brothers and sisters. They started the war in the day of Ashura after offering the morning prayers. This is the joke of the history. Ibn Ziyad's army, Umar Saad was the commander, and they had around 30 of them memorizers of the Quran. And they offered the morning prayer, and then they said, Bismillah wa billah, you witness that the first hour I'm pelting towards the camp of Abu Abdullah Hussein is me. And then they started the war. And the part of Rasulullah, just 50 years, the half century. The people, they started war against the grandson of Prophet after the morning prayer, and after slaughtering the grandson of Prophet, and they offered the prayer. Is it not a joke? And this is something very important to analyze, that one of our scholars who martyred in Iran, the intellectuals, in fact, the Dr. Ali Shariati, you can go and check the books he written, it's there online and translated into English as well. He mentioned very important point here, that if we are commemorating Muharram, it doesn't that we cannot decide. He said, we all have shimr inside of us. Enough, my dear brothers and sisters. And we have to polish up our inner self. We have to purify our inner self through these majalis. Why we are mentioning these atrocities? To know 2 things. One, we have to be like the martyrs of Karbala, and we have to take lesson and empower ourselves in a way that if time comes, we can also sacrifice the way how the martyrs of Karbala sacrificed. And then we have to also learn the lesson from the opponents of Karbala, from the opponents of Imam Hussein, that how far they went against Imam Hussein, against Imam of the time, because of the hubbud dunya, because of the interest of dunya, because the love for the dunya. It may be happen to us as well. So we have to empower ourselves, we have to safeguard ourselves not to go up to that extent. This is something, the lesson we can take from Karbala, and constantly we have to advise ourselves, constantly we have to remind ourselves that we are the followers of Imam Hussein. We are the followers of martyrs of Karbala. We have to promote this mindset, and inshallah, as we are chanting in the ziyarah that Ya laytana kunna ma'akum fanafuza fawzan azima. O Imam, we wish we could be there in Karbala. We could also offer our sacrifices. We continue, and we have to safeguard this mindset until the Hussein of the Imam of our time reappears, and inshallah we demonstrate the same as the martyrs of Karbala. Inna ahsan al-hadith wa ablagha al-maw'idhat al-muttaqin kitabullah al-aziz al-hakim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد.
وصل على الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها. وصل على أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب عليهم السلام. وصل على الحسن والحسين سيدا شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على علي بن الحسين محمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. وصل على الحجة القائم المنتظر المهدي حججك في بلادك وأمنائك في أرضك. أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله واتباع أمره ونهيه. In second sermon, again I recommend myself and all of you to practice piety. Quickly, I want to mention one or two things, inshallah. In the month of Muharram, as we are commemorating the Majalis and we are commemorating the month of Muharram and the martyrdom of Imam Hussain, inshallah, we have to focus on few things. One, the importance of the time, especially Jummah is normally nowadays is around 12 o'clock is the adhan. So if we start even 12:30, we have to complete our sermon by 1 o'clock, and inshallah we have to start our prayers. If we don't have 4 male members, we cannot start the Jummah. Jummah, the minimum we need to have the participants 4 male members and 1 imam. Obligatory for women to participate in Jummah, and if they are participating, they are gaining the extra reward. So sometimes I see that our sisters are more on time than our brothers, and inshallah we remind ourselves that a little bit early if we move towards the Jummah. Do not think that the others will come, we can go late. But if everybody think the same, nobody will be here in Jummah. So inshallah, we have to think that nobody is there unless I go, then we will start the Jummah. So everybody inshallah will be on time. At least 12:30 we have to start the Jummah so we can finish on time. The second thing what we need to bear in mind, alhamdulillah, we had a good majalis so far, so we continue having these majalis every night. Please take some time and try to be, despite of challenges we are facing, inshallah, if we have a little bit difficulty, Imam Hussain himself will help us to resolve those issues, inshallah. And one thing we need to, especially brothers, to take care of that the sisters who participating in majalis, they need their privacy. And it is their basic right. And we are very ashamed that we don't have a center which caters 100% privacy for them. The entrance itself is for both of us, it's the same entrance, and the washroom we are using is the same for all. And we are trying our best to try something which is better for our sisters, inshallah. But up to that time, we need to give the preference to our sisters. 2 things. One, if the sister is coming for the washroom, let the sisters go and whatever they need time they spend, and brothers will, if they want to make wuzu, they can go downstairs and they can make the wuzu and give more time for the sisters here. The second thing, the entrance, we have to give some extra space for the sisters to go. We have to use more the front space of this center for brothers and leave that entrance so they can easily pass. And while we are completing our majalis and our programs or prayers, it is better to sit down here and whatever we discuss, and avoiding, inshallah, the brothers to stand on the door so the sisters should not feel discomfort while they want to go out. And alhamdulillah, the water is now, we have the both allocation for the sisters and the brothers. We can use the water, and the garbage is in this place, so we can leave that space for only sisters, inshallah. And we hope that sisters will forgive us, and inshallah they make extra prayers so we can have a beautiful masjid in Guyana, especially in Georgetown. Our brothers and sisters are trying their best to construct the masjid in Linden. We have to pray for them, and inshallah I'm trying to organize a trip maybe this Muharram or month of Safar, so we can have a majlis in Linden. We all can go and participate participate in that majlis and see how our brothers and sisters doing there, and also in Berbice if the time and the facilities permits, inshallah. So we have to demonstrate the unity. We are few in numbers. Within that few in numbers, if we are not asking our brothers in Berbice, our sisters in Berbice, our brothers in Linden, our sisters in Linden, then how we can strengthen the brotherhood and sisterhood among ourselves. So we have to think more about how we can, inshallah, coordinate with our brothers living in outside of Georgetown, and inshallah we can organize that. And we hope that the center we have in Berbice, that is also not a masjid. So there is a center, and there is a allocation of land in front of that center, and the plan is already there to construct the masjid. So inshallah, there is some hiccups there, and the land itself is now a disputed land, and the GPL is claiming that the bigger line is going on top of that land, so they are not permitting. And inshallah, we hope that if not that land, any other place we can find for the masjid in Berbice. So we need to have at least a masjid there, a masjid in Linden, a masjid here in Georgetown. That's the minimum, if not more than that. Inshallah, masjid has its own attraction and its own pertinence, its own greatness. And inshallah, we hope that we all have to pray and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the azadari of Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wasalam, so we can have a nice masjid here with all the facilities and good privacy for our sisters, inshallah. We hope that until then we have to take care of the privacy of the sisters, and brothers will inshallah note down in their mind, and inshallah they will follow. إن أحسن الحديث وأبلغ موعظة المتقين كتاب الله العزيز الحكيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.